Right now, 250 enormous ships are squeezing through one stretch of water barely 3 kilometers wide, and a quarter of everything humanity trades is on board them. 90,000 vessels will make this exact passage this year, carrying your phone, your clothes, and over 20 million barrels of oil through this single narrow corridor every day. If this strait closed tomorrow, the global economy would visibly begin breaking down within roughly 2 weeks, and the price of nearly everything you buy would start climbing fast. But here is what makes Malacca truly different from every other choke point on Earth. Because this one is above all a problem for just one single country. The second largest economy on the planet imports 4 out of every 5 barrels of its oil through this gap, while its greatest rival's navy patrols every approach. One look at the map shows the trap because 17,000 Indonesian islands form a 3,000-mile wall between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. A supertanker leaving the Persian Gulf loaded with 2 million barrels bound for Shanghai has exactly 3 doors through that giant wall, and 2 of them barely work. The Sunda Strait is shallow, torn by violent currents, and sits right beside Krakatoa, one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth, so nobody risks it. The Lombok Strait is deep and safe, but the detour adds up to 3 days of sailing and hundreds of thousands of dollars in fuel on every single voyage. Which leaves door number 3 the straightest, cheapest path between Asia's factories and the rest of us, and it has been the superhighway of trade for 1,000 years. Back in the 1400s, the city of Malacca was among the richest trading ports alive, and for 5 centuries, empires fought like starving wolves to control it. The Portuguese stormed it in 1511, then the Dutch ripped it from them, then the British took it all and read the geography better than everyone before. In 1819, the British planted a trading post on a swampy island at the Strait's exit, and that island became Singapore, the busiest transshipment hub on Earth. Southeast of Singapore, the lane squeezes below 3 kilometers wide with water barely 25 meters deep as tankers longer than skyscrapers thread it every hour. In 2003, China's president stood before his party Congress and named this exact stretch of water the greatest strategic weakness of the entire Chinese nation. China's economy was exploding and drinking oil faster than any country in recorded history, yet nearly all of it sailed through one strait Beijing could not defend. State media gave the fear a name, the Malacca Dilemma, because whoever commands this strait holds a hand around China's throat, and everyone knows whose hand. American warships resupply at Singapore's Changi Naval Base, sitting directly on the strait's eastern mouth, while the 7th Fleet, the largest forward force alive, patrols every approach. American strategists have openly published plans for simply closing these distant doors from thousands of miles away and letting the second largest economy quietly run dry of fuel. Nobody outside Beijing knows exactly how long China's strategic oil reserves would really last, but most estimates land near 90 days, and every crisis meeting runs on that clock. So, for over 20 years, China has been desperately trying to escape this trap, spending hundreds of billions on the most ambitious infrastructure projects ever attempted by anyone. Twin pipelines through Myanmar now carry oil from the Indian Ocean over the mountains into Yunnan, yet they move barely 4% of imports through an active civil war. The $60 billion corridor through Pakistan must cross the Karakoram Range at nearly 4,700 meters, and trucking oil over that pass is economically absurd. Thailand has flirted for over a century with cutting an entirely new canal across its narrow isthmus, but never dug because whoever finances that canal effectively owns Thailand. 20 years and a fortune beyond imagination later, roughly the same overwhelming share of China's energy still sails every single day through the exact same tiny gap. So Beijing finally arrived at a much colder solution, because if you cannot go around a strait, then you simply build a navy large enough to contest it. Since the mid-2000s, Chinese shipyards have launched warships at a pace unseen since World War II, creating the largest navy on Earth by pure number of hulls. Beijing now funds a chain of ports stretching from Pakistan to Sri Lanka to Djibouti that analysts call the String of Pearls, and every pearl watches these lanes. But here is the twist, because any blockade would also strangle Japan, South Korea, and Singapore, meaning America's ultimate weapon might crush its own allies before it beats China. For 500 years, whoever controlled Malacca controlled Asia's wealth, and today the 2 mightiest nations alive are locked in that exact same fight because the map always wins.